Greetings from God's country at the gateway to the Ozarks in beautiful Fairfield Bay, Arkansas. This is the Fairfield Bay Gadfly coming to you from the Flytrap Studio with the Fairfield Bay Gadfly Presents. And welcome. Another hot day. As the band, the power station will tell us, some like it hot. Yeah, well, maybe not me, but you gotta feel the heat burning you up, ready or not. Well, trust me, it's burning you up if you stay out there too long or if you do yard work. Now, today in history. On July the 10th, 1925, in Dayton, Tennessee, the Scopes monkey trial begins with three-time presidential candidate William Jennings Bryan assisting the prosecution and Clarence Darrow assisting the ACLU with the defense. Although the guilty verdict was overturned by the Tennessee Supreme Court a couple of years later in 1927, the real constitutional issue of freedom of speech was not resolved until 1968, when the U.S. Supreme Court overturned a similar Arkansas law as a violation of the First Amendment. Well, it took a little while to do that, but they got around to it eventually. Anyway, current events. The U.S. has now sent another $400 million in military aid to Ukraine, which means in total the U.S. has provided Ukraine with about $7.3 billion in aid since the war began in February. Now, you have to ask yourself, $7.3 billion. You know, that would do a lot of good here in the United States, you'd think. And I understand that Ukraine has been invaded by Vlad the Impaler Putin, and it's wrong, and everything else about it needs to stop. And the U.S., along with its European allies, really needs to kind of pick up the pace a little bit. But the thing is, you know, we're sending a bunch of money over there, and a good part of it, of course, is military equipment or money to buy military equipment or use military equipment. But at the same time, there has to be other ways the U.S. and their European allies can address this situation without completely emptying our coffers. I mean, the U.S. always seems to be the one with the deepest pockets. Have you ever noticed that? And there has to be limits somewhere. I mean, the war has to end, but at the same time, as a U.S., on the U.S. side, we need to really start tightening up the pocketbook a little bit, or it's just going to get totally out. Well, it's already totally out of hand, but you know what I mean. Anyway, Russian oil. Now the Biden administration is afraid the weak sanctions by Europe on Russian oil and gas could cause an increase in crude oil prices of up to $200 a barrel. Now, to put it in a better perspective, that's about $7 a gallon here in the U.S. But wait a minute. I know I have seen cases in the commie states, such as California, of gas prices already exceeding $7 a gallon. Can you imagine the possibilities? In a supposedly novel and untried effort to force Russia to sell its oil to the world at a steep discount, instead of cutting Russia off completely, and the U.S. and its allies will give Russia another out. American oil? Well, where is it? It's time to really kind of dig down and find that American oil. We know where it is. Get with it and get it up and get it processed and use it in America, in the U.S. Don't export it. Keep it right here. If Europe wants some of it, well, they can pay a premium price for it. But at the same time, Russian oil is about 10% of the world's production as far as going to Europe, Middle East, wherever it goes. But at the same time, the U.S. could self-sustain itself in oil right here with the resources that we have. We just don't do it, and there's no good reason for that. Now, Roe v. Wade, the fun continues as it does daily. As Slow Joe signed a nothing burger executive order supposedly attempting to protect the genocide of abortion, he said, "The fastest way to restore Roe is to pass a national law," close quote. Then Joe went on to say, "The challenge is to go out and vote. For God's sake, there is an election in November," close quote. God's sake? What about for the sake of the unborn children? Would God approve? That's something to think about. You know, we have the party that enjoys abortion, apparently, the Democrats, who will defend it to any end. And they're invoking God in trying to get abortion back going, get the abortion. The Supreme Court did not make abortion illegal. It said it's up to the states. Now, if the states want to make it illegal, they can do it. They have done it. Arkansas has done it. Louisiana's done it. Several other states have done it. So really, don't tell me that abortion has stopped, so they have to go to a neighboring state to get an abortion. I'm sorry. Go for it. If they'll probably come out with travel pay for women who wish to travel to another state, and they'll probably pay for their accommodations and food and travel in the whole 9 yards. But the thing is, that's up to the various states to do that. If the U.S. government tries to do that, I think that Congress should step in and say, no, it's a state issue, let it be. But that's just the way it is. And speaking of Louisiana, we have dueling judges in the state of Louisiana. The first judge stops the state from enforcing their abortion trigger law, while the second judge says, hold on, not so fast. The legal challenge should be in the state courts, not district courts. So abortion is again illegal in Louisiana. Now, on another item of interest is fish are falling from the sky in the state of California. It's anchovies on roofs and not on pizza. And of course, scientists are saying not to worry, it's really not biblical. Well, you know, California seems to always ignore signs from above, whether it's the El Niños or it's the fires or it's the earthquakes or what. Now it's fish falling from the sky. I guess that you could take your pizza out in the backyard and catch a few of those puppies and then stick it in the oven real quick. I think that's kind of what anchovies are for. Of course, I personally do not really care for anchovies, either on my pizza or otherwise. But it's something to consider. I mean, California, it's a sign from above. You better pay attention. Now, on a sad note, we have lost another comedy legend. Larry Storch of F Troop dies at age 99. R.I.P. Corporal Agarn. Continuing on a sad note, actor Tony Sirico, I never can pronounce that, from The Sopranos has died at age 79. Tony was best known for his role as Paulie Walnuts, one of Tony Soprano's main enforcers. R.I.P. Paulie. I love Paulie. He was, the thing I loved about Paulie, I think, was he was a germaphobe. It was so funny to see him trying to tie his shoes after he had been in the men's room standing at the urinal. So now on the state level, a petition for a recreational marijuana amendment in Arkansas has nearly 200,000 signatures and will more than likely appear on the 2022 election ballot, absent a court challenge, which there will be some. And there has to be some really hard questions about this particular amendment. It does nothing about expunging previous nonviolent marijuana offenses. It does nothing. It does not allow for home cultivation. So it lacks a lot of things. All it does is make more money for the folks that already have dispensaries set up for medical marijuana. And you have to look at it this way. There's a better one that they decided would need to wait until 2024. I don't know what will happen if this one passes and then the other one comes up. I mean, you could kind of amend it somehow or another, but it's really not the best amendment to put forth for the voters, and I hope they will look at it that way. Another petition is to remove Pope County up near Russellville from the previously approved casino amendment, and it now has 103,000 signatures, about half as many as the recreational marijuana petition. People would rather get high than oppose gambling. I wouldn't bet on the casino amendment, though. Now, the Arkansas School Safety Commission is now considering unified active shooter training in an effort to prevent confusion during a crisis. What? Just now? It has been years since the Jonesboro, Arkansas school shooting, not to mention the number of cases nationally that have occurred since then and most recently. And the powers that be are just now considering this issue. Make schools hard targets. Unified training should have been set up years ago. Why are school administrators or local school boards so resistant to making schools hard targets? Ask your local school board. If something has to be done, but the first thing you do is make it a hard target. I know everybody likes to be able to go to school and just walk right in. I mean, I have gone to several events down in Little Rock at the grandkids' schools, and you just walk right in. I mean, you could walk right in with a few sticks of dynamite strapped to your chest and blow the whole place up. Fortunately, that's never happened, but there is absolutely no security at most of these school events that I've been to. Graduations, sports, you name it. You just walk right in. And so something needs to happen more so than just make sure everybody's trained properly. Well, by now, by golly, they should be trained without question. So ask your local school board. Now, we kind of move up to Fairfield Bay. This is an important week for the Fairfield Bay Community Club. Its annual meeting time on Tuesday, July 12th at 5 p.m. in the Fairfield Bay Conference Center. All members of the community club are invited and need to show up. If you have questions, this is the time to ask them. You have questions about how the money is spent by the club, whether it's on a pile of dirt someplace or whether it's on a marina or would have been on a marina, or the roads, the sewers, you name it, the Holy Trinity, road, sewer, and marina. Instead, we have other projects that money has been wasted on. And if you have questions, you need to show up and you need to ask them. And just stand up for your community, because things are getting out of control with the spending, with the finances, you name it. So you have an obligation to be there if you're a community club member, and I encourage you to do so. Now, to leave y'all with a bit of humor, you know the gadfly likes to do that. Okay, here we go. Here's your joke of the day. Narcissus, I can't pronounce that word to save my soul. Narcissists are like nesting Russian dolls, full of themselves. I think that's very true around here for sure. Anyway, this is the Fairfield Bay Gadfly bringing you truth from above and signing off for now.